Welcome back to Reaper Pro Tips with me, your host, Ann, Disembodied Hands, Quindy, Disembodied Beard, John, and Disembodied Ears, Kuruniko. Happy Thursday. Hi, Fox Behind the Tree. I love your name. We are back, and this is the last day this week I'll be streaming. Then I will be streaming Monday and Tuesday of next week, and then I'm gone for a whole week. So just remember, just repeating the schedule, just so you all know. Here we are. Yeah, and Kiki is here, clicking her little paws on the floor. Or her giant paws, as the case may be. Hi. Hi, doglet. She says, I want my pattens. I want my morning pattens. You want your morning pattens? Yeah. Okay, here you go. Scritch, 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 scritch. Scritch, 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 scritch. Okay, is that good enough? She's like, no, you could do this for another half hour. Oh, yes, I could, but I won't. Okay, Bubba. Yes, work time. Yes. Tomorrow, Kiki goes on a trip with us. Yeah, we get to go in the car tomorrow. We do. With Daddy. Yes. She has no idea yet. Get some of this crap out of my way. All right, we're going to be working on OSL today. Pardon me while I blow my nose because allergies. Fair, Crowley, fair. Yes, this is the problem. Anne has a good time, but then the rest of you don't. Oh, you typically hide in the shadows. You actually are hiding in the trees. There we go. The digital trees, right? Awesome, awesome. Super. All right, one moment. Ugh. Ugh. It's just been like my eyes were itchy and everything else, you know. The allergies are here, everybody. 'Tis the season for me. Run for my life, yeah. I forgot. Yes, I haven't told Quinty to take her allergy pill for a long time now because we haven't had the allergy season, but here we are. So yes, I am ready to run for my life at the 5K. Yes, I had a dream last night where I really sucked. Where I was like, I had no energy and I couldn't run, and I was like, yeah. That was one of my dreams. Other than the terrifying airplane falling out of the sky dreams that I always have. Oh, hey, GW store manager. Fantastic. Sweet. Well, cool. I worked at a GW store once upon a time. Long time ago now. Ancient history. All right, so one thing we have to do is we got to mix up our grays because we're going to be working on the NMM there. If we're going to do the OSL, we also have to finish the NMM on the shoulder so that we can work that orange into it. Once we've got that done and we highlight our gray here on the arm, then we can work our highlights over everything, probably using glazing. No, I can still run with allergies. Actually, usually physical activity helps my airways to open up. Twistedoma. Like when if I'm really stuffed up, if I go for a walk, it helps, or a run. Either way. Last night I just walked though. Where all my grays are already out here, and I'm like, ah. There we go. There's our carbon gray and our cloudy gray. Oof. You wish you were a GW store manager? Oh, Kuruniko, all of your armies would be sparkle. Like, there's no way. There's no way. I wish I could see it, but I don't think there's a reality where GW actually lets you do what you would do. There would be pink Space Marines and sparkly Tyranids. And the rest of us would eat it up, and the GW community would be like, boo. Alright, oh, I do need to throw a little bit of lotion on my hands here. Now that the Kiki, the lotion licker, is out of range. She's so funny. There we go. Better. David woke me up before my alarm this morning. I was very grumpy about it. Oh, wow. Yeah, that's fast, Fox. That's super fast. Congrats. I mean, it is kind of a thankless job in many ways, but it's a good job because you get to interface with the hobby, right? But like I remember, I know there was a lot of pressure to it back when my old store manager was around. Um, but yeah, but also fun. I think it might be a little bit easier going these days than it was back then, since there's been a change of leadership. Ah, you fell down the rabbit hole. Yep, yeah. Well, and if you've got like management ability, I mean that's something that isn't common in the hobby. So, the ability to do what they need you to do. So yeah, cool, awesome. You've been abusing minis for years. It's still not your job. Yep. Ah, yeah, Crowley. Well, you dodged that bullet. But like I said, it's a good job. It's a rewarding job, and yet also it can be a pressure job, right? Because it's about sales, and you also have to deal with people, and sometimes the people aren't as nice as you'd like them to be. Any of those front-facing jobs can be that way, but in general, the hobby I think is pretty cool. So I had fun when I wasn't the manager, but I had fun when I worked at the store. I think actually being an employee at the store was more fun than being the manager. But these days, yeah, when the paycheck becomes a coupon for product, right? Yeah. But these days, I think it's pretty much like manager is like one of the only employees, right? And then you maybe have one other staff. They've really cut back to make the stores more profitable, so that they can keep their retail arm open a bit more. At least that's how it was in Texas. he gives a thumbs up and walks away. That's funny. And Kroniko teaching us Scottishisms. Single employee store, yeah. Yes, to kindly kick people out for your break. Yep. Yeah, that was what Brett always said too. Although he'd usually let me in early. I just couldn't buy anything. Just because we'd chat about the hobby. And I didn't care if he was on lunch. But yeah. Oh, yeah. I haven't looked at those and I'm going to stay away. Only half a kidney. Yep. That's funny. All right. Just making my mixes. Here, I'm chatting with y'all, but I'm not letting you see my palette. That's not fair. But it's the usual suspects. I've got my my brown liner, my carbon gray and cloudy gray mix. Then we have a cloudy gray and white mix. Although I probably could just get away with that and then just do with the cloudy gray, since I'm blending a bit. There's 2 dragons and new horses. Oh, well, they've needed new horses. All right. Dang it. Now I'm going to go look and I'm going to, be in love. But you know what? I don't regret anything, Kuro, because if I can see these before David does, then for once I get first shot. Grand Cathay faction from... Yeah, Celestial Dragon Emperor. Cool. Now I have to put on my glasses to see it. You're helping. Well, that's good. The coughing being gone is good. Oh, wow. Oh, the clay golem. The big golem is cool. Oh, yeah, and the lantern-shaped airships are super neat. Oh, I need better, I need images. Give me images. Oh, the dragon. Oh, yeah. Okay, I want to paint that one. Well, I know what dragon I want to get to use in the my new Dragon Master class, hey? And I like the Emperor too. Ah! It's not letting me get too crazy. Ah, now my phone is all screwed up. No, don't be screwed up, phone. But yeah, pretty cool. There, visit. Oh, there's a Kyren! Or Kirin. Okay, this is going to be too awesome. Yeah, I'm going to I have to pretty much like, yeah, okay, I have to screenshot these, send them to David, and say dibs. One second. I'm going to threaten my husband. You guys got to give me a second to threaten my husband. I'm calling dibs. This one and the dragon. Are mine. Steal at your own risk. Hold on. Must threaten husband. There. You support this threat? Absolutely. I mean, I suppose everybody would love David Diamondstone to paint these models, but I'm going to paint them. So much for that. Yeah. I love Kyrens. I love dragon horses. And so that dragon horse is mine. That dragon horse is so mine. All right, so let's get this together here. I've been distracted by beautiful miniatures. Yeah, it all looks pretty sick. It all looks pretty awesome. I mean, it's seldom that I look at a Games Workshop product and say, wow, all of that is amazing, but that is pretty amazing. And they're making an investment in Old World, which makes me wonder if Old World actually is doing well. Hey there, Beyond the Box Art, thank you so much for the raid. I am mixing up colors for Steel NMM, Silver NMM. We're going to do some other source lighting. We're going to do some OSL on our mage here. This is Pathfinder model. It's the second sculpt of him, Seltyiel, iconic mage. So we're going to be doing that today, but I need to finish the silver patch on his shoulder and the back here before I do my glazing, and I need to also highlight the sleeve here. So yeah, so that's what we're doing today. And we're also talking about the new Cathay range from Games Workshop for the Old World, which we just looked at pictures of. And I told my husband with dire threats that it was mine and he could not steal it because he always sees the new thing first because he's on Instagram more than I am. And then he steals it and I don't want to paint anything he's painting. So I had to like make my threat early. So there was a slight pause in the stream while I threatened David. Been painting some of the Bones D&D. Oh, nice. Yeah, I mean, I think the Bones D&D stuff is a very good way to get into the hobby. I mean, it's nice and inexpensive, right? And there's a variety of models, so you can choose stuff that's more complicated or less complicated. And almost cat-proof, too. There we go. Oh, the new one for Austin, huh? That's cool. I didn't know there was a new Games Workshop store in Austin, but... Yeah, plenty of space to practice on. Yep. Yeah, exactly. All right, so we're going to be working with very simple silver NMM, carbon gray mixed with cloudy gray, pure white, and then I'm using some brown liner. It's because I like brown. I like liners for shading NMM a bit more than I like regular paints because I like the translucency. So I've thinned all of these about a 4:1 to 2:1, 4:1 for my base. I'm thinning these other ones a little more. I'm going to drop a little water more into this one. This one definitely needs to be thinned down a bit. If I keep them thicker, I can wet blend more effectively. But if I keep them thinner, I can layer. And so I tend to try to strike a happy medium between the two. Hey there, Nurgle Matthew. Yeah, Nurgle Matthew. It's been a while. Sorry, my mouth isn't quite operative this morning. I got woken up early. Nothing is worse than when your husband wakes you up before your alarm. And I don't care if it was only 5 minutes before my alarm. We have a deal. It was painful. There was a collective gasp. That's pretty good, Crowley. Yep. All right. So I've got my colors. Let's finish up the silver on his shoulder here in the back, and then we'll get a highlight on that arm at least, because that's where our fire is going to be. Let me grab his concept art and bring it up so we can take a look at it. Also, I'm throwing my paint everywhere as always. I have no idea which color I just doomed to obscurity underneath my thing. Now we're in the bargaining stage. You can't call dibs on both. You can have the dragon form. I want the human form. We can negotiate. My husband is hilarious. I mostly want the dragon anyway. Yes, my husband is this is what happens when you have two like good mini painters married to each other. And now I'm gonna tell him, you always get the new stuff. Let me have some new stuff. There we go. All right, threats and entreaties delivered. Yeah, that's terrible, Twisted Oma. That's just awful. And I'm gonna stick the knife in, guys. You don't even like Asian art. I'm just gonna keep giving David shit. And I can call him on that one because I know it's true. I have to force him. I had to force him to go to Asian exhibitions in art museums. Like I had to ask for my special treat for my birthday after we were dating. I had to use that as an excuse to get him to go to the Asian Art Museum in San Francisco, which is one of the outside of Asia is one of the best collections. And he's an artist and he loves to go to art museums, but he's just Asian art's not his thing. And now he's telling me that he wants to steal my Cathay minis. I don't know, guys. I think what it was, Kuro, is that when he was a kid, his parents probably trooped him through a bunch of museums with a ton of Asian vases. And the vases are the least interesting part of Asian art, but they are kind of the famous part of it, if you know what I mean. So the vases stuck in his head, and he was convinced that Asian art was a bunch of vases that were really boring. And I'm like, you have no idea. You are clueless. So he has somewhat revised his opinion, but I can still give him crap about the opinion he used to have. That's pretty much all of it now, Hyper. I think his Instagram glut has been purely to catch up. So I'm just taking some of my highlights, guys. I'm working in some highlights on this sleeve. I want to use I'll use my shadow color to get those folds picked out. But yeah, so he thought Asian art was all like vases and like, you know, like he didn't like, I love the huge like paper screens and stuff that are like wildlife and landscape. I love that stuff. But yeah, he's been posting a lot on Instagram just to get all of his stuff up. So I would not expect him to keep up that rate of posting. A lot of the stuff he's been posting is his older stuff. Not all of it, but a lot. He has been just trying to catch up. Now that he can finally get good pictures, he's figured out his settings in Adobe Lightroom so that he can get good phone pictures. He's finally happy with the pictures he's taking of his miniatures. So that's why the sudden Instagramming. Yeah, but I'm just telling you, don't expect it to keep up, because he's pretty much, he told me the other day, he's pretty much put up everything now. Yes, like when you go into a new Discord and people think you're super prolific. Yep. Yeah, but that new Cathay stuff, like, I know I can't ask you for this, Fox, but, like, has Old World been more popular then? Like I kind of wonder if, like, the Cathay stuff is just, like, either it's somebody's pet project high up in the company and they're just doing it because they can do it because Old World is a thing right now, or Old World is actually doing well, which I would hope, because Old World was actually my first, like, Warhammer Fantasy was my first Games Workshop game. But is Old World doing decently as far as gaming goes? Do you know? Can you share? If you can't share, I totally understand. I know you can only maybe get an idea from your own store and area. But you also might talk to the community more than I do. Well, everybody runs out of stuff. I mean, David is fast, but he still takes time to paint stuff. He's fast for a very high-end painter. But yeah, there's not infinite stuff. I just wanted to warn you. So we're just going to get the... Haven't heard. Ah, okay. Oh, Beyond the Box Art, not Foxy, sir. Sorry. Totally. Or maybe. I'm getting people mixed up now. Because it's Boxes and Foxes. Boxes and Foxes. Ah! But yeah, it's like your favorite authors. You're going to run out of books eventually. Even if they're prolific. Then you have to just wait for the next one. All right, so I'm using some liner to pick out these tight folds in here. Oh, okay. Yes, that's true, Mini Mad Cat. Even more confusing. I'll try to remember that box art is also a Mad Cat. You guys, rebranding. I can't complain because, you know, I've rebranded in my life, so. These little buttons, I'm between making, I don't think I should make them silver. They probably should be gold. So I'm going to actually paint them black and put white over them. Or paint them liner and put white over them to remind myself to paint them a different color. If I just paint them black, they'll blend in and I'll forget them. So it's very important to do the white over the top. Remind myself they are unpainted. Well, I mean, it never sucked. It just wasn't 40K, right? Well, that's because they're always going to throw their main muscle. Like, it's not surprising, Hyper, that releases are slow. Because when it comes down to it, their two money makers are still AOS and 40K, and especially 40K. So whatever's making the money is always going to get the top end of support. But it's nice to see a little bit of new stuff, because when Old World first came out, I was very disappointed that they didn't take the opportunity to produce more new models for it. Because I did really like that game. I would play it again. I would build an army. If I could find a community near me. So we're also going to do the liner for the crease here at the elbow. Whenever you've got a really deep crease or you've got an actual point where there's a crease where a limb is bending, where two parts are meeting, you can absolutely use liner on that instead of just regular, like a shadow. All right, so we'll pop some highlights in here. I don't want to bring up the gray too far because it is meant to be a darker gray, and I probably will add shadows rather than pushing highlights. Remember, you can always go two ways. It's never just, you don't just have to add highlights. If you don't want to go lighter, you can darken your shadows, and that's a good tactic when you're doing reds that you don't want to take too light. Or blues. Yeah, yep. Things get jigged about on the schedule, yeah. Yeah, you're probably right. I mean, because they wouldn't know out the gate if it was going to be successful, right? Beyond. So, I should just call you Mad Cat. So they had to essentially have 3 years of production planned on it anyway. Whatever their default was. And then, if it becomes more popular... But you know what? I don't see it becoming madly popular unless they do put more new sculpts in. Yeah. Hey there, Marich. Are you impersonating the White Rabbit today? Oh, 300 clan rats. Oh my god. Yeah, RNG. Yep. New sculpts that fit the old style. Yes. Yeah, but they need to refresh some of that stuff because, like, nobody's going to get excited. Like, no matter whether you're just that guy who likes to build stuff and really doesn't like to paint, or you're the person who really likes to paint and play, or the person who just likes to paint. None of those people are going to get excited about stuff that was out 20 years ago that hasn't changed. Right? They'll be happy that it came back, but... I want to see more like keep some of the old stuff, sure. Like there's still a couple of models that stand up well. But so we're gonna put that highlight there on top of the shoulder guys. We're gonna put a shadow under it. On here I went more with the highlight here, but that's because his arm is back here and down. It's up here, so this surface is going to be more vertical. So don't think, even though these are similar shapes, you don't necessarily get to do the same placement of highlights on each because the position of the arm is different. So because this arm is more horizontal, my highlight isn't going to be out here. It's going to be more at the top. And I still have I'll have a reflected light down here instead of this shadow. Glad she's eating Hyper Bunny. Yeah. I always had a lot of fun. I had Wood Elves, and I lost all the time, and I still had fun playing Old World, playing Fantasy when it was around the first time. Even as unbalanced as things could become. I can understand if Age of Sigmar is a more balanced game and a better tournament game. But there is a certain amount of fun to be had when things can just be crazy broken. I don't know, we always manage to have fun with it. I don't know how much they've revised the rules for the new one. I have not had a group to play with since I left Reaper, so I haven't been interested in following it. Very little between the Warhammer Fantasy Battle rules set in Old World. Yeah, that's what I would... Very little, like, the same, or very little change beyond. Very little change. Yeah, that's kind of what I thought. That's what it felt like when they released it, is that they were just bringing it back with minimal effort on their part, right? I'll just reiterate, they need to bring back Mordheim. Bring back Mordheim with more warbands. Do a soft revise on the rules like they did for Necromunda. Although Necromunda pretty much just like became more Mordheim-y rules, but you know, revise the parts of the rules that could help with Mordheim. But bring my Mordheim back, damn it. Just change the color from red to turquoise, yeah. Yep. You can't get angry at rule changes if you don't know them in the first place. I don't get angry at rule changes because there's nothing I can do about it. Unless my group wants to house rule. And if we do want to house rule, then that was never a problem, right? But if people don't want to house rule, then... let's see here. I think we're going to end up with a lot of light down the middle here. So now we have to look at our stuff. But yeah, if people aren't going to house rule, then you really can't control the rules anyway, so there's no reason to be all buttsore about it. Just my 2 cents. Sometimes people just like to make a sport out of being buttsore, and I never understood that. Whoops, I blorfed a little bit on the hair. Blorf. Like, it is what it is. Just deal. Yeah. On box art. I agree. Yep. Oh, yeah. Mordheim still has a very large grassroots following. Very loyal audience. For the reason that it was one of the best games GW ever put out. So, all right. So, the fireball is hovering right above our silver panel here. I'm going to be taking that into account here on my highlighting. So, there's going to be a big white, like, light going down the middle then. That's going to be mostly orange light. Because that fireball is right above it, and that's where the light's going to essentially hit, right? Maybe a little bit more to the front because the fireball is slightly more situated to the front. Yeah, original Necromunda. I just never liked the models for Necromunda that much, so I didn't go for it. I generally think playing humans is boring. Unless they're super flavorful. All right, so we've got that white in there. We've got a little bit of a shadow that we can pop in. Yeah. Like, the only warband I ever would have played in Necromunda if I had played it was Escher, but because I wanted to play the girls. This is the token female warband. Yeah. Yeah. I'm going to put some shadow in here. We don't have much room for it. But even though we've got a light bearing down on the surface, we still need shadows. So I'm pretty much using pure brown liner there. I also need to bring the highlight up here because this again, this light is going to be right down on this area. So right under that, I need light. All right, I think we're to the point where we can start bringing in some orange. So I'm gonna mix up. I think we're gonna use Cavalier. I really like Cavalier. And I like Cavalier because if I add white to it, it goes very, very close to yellow. Because it has a bunch of yellow in it. Very yellow. So you can get a good range with it. Oh, no bet to you. Okay. Bye. Bye, Mad Cat. Alrighty. So I'm going to thin down the Cavalier just with a couple drops of water. And I'm going to glaze it. Because remember, we painted this model so far like he's in normal daylight. And that means that this fireball, no matter how crazy it is, no, there is nothing. Seriously. There's no difference. I usually say silver/steel, depending on what I'm doing. If I'm doing edging, it's silver. But it's pretty much the same. They're both white metals. White metals don't vary that much. You could argue that steel, like, you can't even really say, you could say steel's slightly darker. But, you know, when it comes to the actual shadows that you're putting on things, it doesn't really matter. But I use them interchangeably. So I want to be able to glaze this because this is not going to be a very strong effect. Like it's going to be here. Starting to glaze it with the orange over that. Nope. They're both white metals. The highlight... Okay, so highlights being narrow or broad have nothing to do with what metal you're painting, seriously. Highlights being narrow or broad has to do with how shiny the surface is. And the angle of the surface. So if you've got a sharply angled surface, you're going to have a skinnier highlight. If you've got a shinier surface, you're going to have a smaller highlight. If you've got a burnished surface, it will be larger. If you've got a gently curved surface, it will be larger. So it's surface and angle. And sometimes it's a stylistic choice as well. Like here, I could go a little broader with this. There. But it's never due to color. That sort of thing is never due to color. Metal is metal. Like the only time you might see difference is if you're dealing with like a black metal, like wrought iron. But even with wrought iron, like were you to polish it up, right, to the point that you'd polish a steel sword or silver jewelry, it would act differently. So. Yep. Yeah, sounds like they might be close to Reaper then, Hyper Bunny, depending on what they're using. I mean, there's a lot of variants. You'll have to let me know what they're like. I still find that there's limited use in marking the pigments on the bottle, unless it's something unique that I want to know. Like, I want to know if it's a quinacridone red, right? Or a purell red, if the name doesn't say it. Still waiting for my shipment on the Chimera velvets, speaking of. So I'm going to take some white and mix it with that orange and bring it in as well. I'm going to keep a little of the white here. There's a little orange here too, but... And I'll need to... Oh, so they're using a different base. Yeah. Okay. Oh, yeah, that doesn't sound like very good. Like, if you're gonna have, like, if you're gonna have a satin or you're gonna have a matte or whatever, at least put in the work to make sure that you've got a consistent, consistent product. I will be very unlikely to try them then. I don't need another coverage line. So I'm going to not put a white underpaint, and I am going to put little touches of orange into the red here. Just little touches. Now on the gray, I might use a little bit of a lighter gray first for a highlight and then bring in the orange. Yeah. Yeah, once I get the Chimera Velvets, I will absolutely do a review on them. There's already a good review out there on them, but I mean, I can put them through the paces and give you my opinion. Yeah, I'm excited about them. I really want them to come. Yeah, I don't need... I mean, Games Workshop, I have a few Games Workshop paints, and I like how they mix with Master Series. I always have. When they first put out this relatively, the newest iteration of their line, I got some of the colors, and... but I always mix with MSP. Like, even for base coat, I mix with MSP. Because I want the flow, I want the more fluid quality, I want more translucency, I want the smoothness. And then I go to pure MSP after that. But like for Critter, who I started painting, I just actually started mixing in a little bit of GW. Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, MSP mixes great with high coverage paint lines in general. The only thing that doesn't mix like the best with is Cuttlefish, because Cuttlefish is a chemically different beast. And even then, mixing it with Cuttlefish, I got a pretty good result. But because Cuttlefish has a variable finish, depending on the amount of water that you add to it, and that includes other water-based paint lines, it's a bit wonky that way. So it's not as predictable, and I didn't like it as much. Oh yeah. Yep. Yeah, so they're just trying. Well, the best thing you can do is honestly give them some feedback. Like if it's a family operation, like writing to them and saying, "Hey, I was excited to try your paint. I've got this. This is what I like. This is what I don't like." Because if you let them know that the consistency, or the consistency in the finish, the lack of it, the variability in it is something that you really don't like, that helps them, right? That helps them improve their product. And with a very small company, they'd probably be happy. Like if you told them, "Hey, this is what I really like. This is what I'm hoping maybe you could improve on," right? As you go forward. So I'm going to put a little tiny bit of white down here. Want to raise the highlight up a bit on the red. We'll bring in more orange. Okay, we're starting to get there. Oh, 14 colors, yeah. You should never regret trying paints, like, by all means. Don't need any more paints, I just need to use the ones you have. Uh-huh. We'll see how long that lasts. Even I, like, I'm at that point, but even I, you know, picked up the velvets. But then that's because I have a specific, like, use case in mind. Like, I picked up the velvets because that's what I've been looking for to work into my painting. So we're adding in more orange here. We're trying to bring in a little bit. I'm adding a little white to my orange so that I can highlight over this red, purple. That's funny. I actually want, yeah, I like Maggot White. I wish that Maggot White stayed around. You can never underestimate off-whites. They are sometimes quite useful. Especially because Reaper doesn't have a lot of pastels in the line, like, as it currently stands. So having off-whites to create those lighter colors is a good utility move. Pastels, aka highlight colors. Yes, you can mix them, but our audience has been known to whine a bit about having to mix too much, so no one in this company, I'm sure. So I'm mixing a little bit of Cavalier into white here, guys, to just like bring up highlights on the arm here. I'll get closer in a second. Yeah. Yeah, Quinty. Right. So that's you, those people who hate having to like mix their colors, those are the people that wish there were more pastels in the line. So we're getting in there and we're adding more orange here, but we're not making it too punchy. The smaller these highlights get, the more I have to use the actual Cavalier orange without adding white to it, so that I can bring in that hint of color, because the smaller the area, the brighter the color has to be for it to show up, remember? So now we can see that color. You can see that glow. We'll do that over the black of the hand. Icy Violet is one of those pastels, isn't it? Icy Violet is a lovely color, and it's a perfect highlight for either Rich Indigo or Night Sky Indigo. It's very versatile that way. The indigos need more love, guys. People need to understand that indigo is one of the most beautiful colors. So I'm using the orange with just a little bit of white to just try to bring up highlights on the hand here. The underside of the hand is going to be black, just because, not just because the gloves are black, but because the contrast between this bright magical flame and the glove is going to be pretty extreme. It smells amazing, but don't eat it. Yeah, it's good that people are out there trying something different. I mean, that's cool. But in the end, I'm with you, Hyper, kind of on the what you kind of hinted at in your previous statement, which is that when in the end, you do need to also concentrate on making your paint line consistent and usable, right? Like you need to make sure that you're crossing your T's and dotting your I's on the quality of the paint before you start throwing in all the sustainable, addition, right? Because the paint can be the most sustainable paint on the planet, but if I can't use it to do what I want it to do, then I'm not going to use it, right? So it's cool, though. It's cool that there's a company out there that's looking at doing that and trying to improve. That's why I say you should drop them a note. Give them a little feedback. Because so many people just don't, right? So many people have their opinion and they never actually, tell the company what they like or don't like. And then, the company just kind of stumbles on. So I had a coaching session with Coach Terry yesterday about my writing. And it turns out that I think everybody and their dog is now writing a lit RPG. Because the word out on the street with writers is that lit RPG is like the new romance genre. It has a crap ton of voracious readers. It makes me kind of happy that Queenmaker is progression instead of lit RPG. And progression is essentially lit RPG without the number spam. Like, it's the same kind of thing. It's still a weak to strong character arc, dealing with magic, and, fantasy world. Yeah, lit RPG is more the, humans transplanted into that world kind of thing, usually, but still. But I'm happier that I'm writing progression, I think, because I think that the competition in the lit RPG marketplace is about to get extremely heavy. I still call them Debbie pastels. That's funny. Oh, wow. Really cool, Cornico. All right, I want to fix this a little bit more back here. I feel like I need it to be a little bit more... Part of it is that there's orange here, but it's not lighter. Whereas on this side, the orange is lighter, and so it's reading better. So when you've got that, I put orange down, but it doesn't look like it's glowing. It's because you haven't made your orange lighter. I wonder if that company has thought about coming to ReaperCon, the paint company. I'm mixing up some Cavalier plus white on top of my palette there, so I can lighten up the glow back here, but I want to add some water to it. Yeah, I just want my velvets, dang it. They're really late now. I should go check in on their shipping. Although I think I'm just in Kuronico land. Like I'm in the opposite that I'm like where you were with Bones Kuro. Where my order just got picked to be one of the last ones. And the entire world is going to have it before I have it. See, so the minute we lighten it a bit, we start to see more of the glow. Oh, they did. The UPS was charging a lot of people an extra fee, so they had to reset. Oh my god. Well, DHL is more expensive for shipping. But, I mean, it gets things here faster, so I guess there's that. I'm just going to do a little bit more highlight here. They've just been fraught on this Kickstarter. All I want is my damn velvets. They were going to eat the added cost for... Wow. That's going to be a bit... They must not have that many left then. Like, because eating the cost on, like a ton of orders, considering how expensive DHL is, that would not be something that would be great. Yeah, I mean, I don't know when vendor stuff goes up or who to contact about that hyper. I do know we usually sell out vendor spaces. But yeah, that's impressive that they're going to eat that cost, because that's... I remember paying... I pay for DHL shipping on my big child orders, and it's always excessive. Not cheap. But very reliable. Right. That's true. Yeah. They seem to have their heart in the right place as regarding... I don't mind supporting them for that reason too, Quindy. That, and I think they really do put out a nice product. Like, you guys all know if I had to switch away from Reaper, like if Reaper blew up tomorrow, let's not say that because I don't want it to blow up before I go. I also don't want it to blow up when I'm there. But I mean, Scale Color and Chimera are the two lines I would go to. And I want to bring up the highlight a little bit here. There we go. There we are. So now that's looking a lot better. Yeah. Well, apparently UPS was doing the same thing, right? So... I do appreciate that I get my stuff from Europe very fast with DHL. In general. So I'm just trying to bring up my orange highlights now here. And then we'll go to the hair, because we want to put the light on that ear and the hair as well. Oh, I didn't know there was a problem there, Hyper. I'm not up on the gossip anymore. If I had Ed around, if Ed was around, Ed would be up on the gossip. See, I relied on Ed for that stuff. Darn you, Ed. Darn you, Ed. Why aren't you sending me messages from heaven? Yeah, it's good, Quindy. That's no good. All right, so when it comes to the hair is white, so we're going to use the pure orange. Just touches of it. We're going to glaze with it. I'm going to kind of test what I got here. I think I need to add a little more water. Oranges and yellows are very translucent naturally, so you don't have to thin them as much for glazing, typically. Oh, I see. Does Big Child own ammo, MIG? I didn't know that they... This is just me again, not knowing the current disposition of the players. They developed the... Oh, okay. The ionic paints with them. Got it. I was going to say, Big Child itself is not a paint developer. So just a little bit of orange here. And I am going to add a bit of white to it. So you just want to get that little touch of orange. I'm going to put, I am putting a little bit of white into my glaze. And I'm just going to put a little touch on this strand. Kind of making it fade out a little bit as it goes up and down. Keeping it mostly focused around this area where the light is very close. Yeah, so I don't think that, I mean, Big Child, it was a collaboration. Unless it was Big Child's policies that made the painters go, they don't want to deal with it anymore. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they're very fast. That's what I like about them. And I don't so much mind paying the extra money because they're fast. Like, I'm paying like $20 instead of 10 or 12, but I'll get it like very, very soon. But yeah, I would think that unless Big Child was part of that cause that made the painters unhappy, I would think that Big Child wouldn't have much to worry about there. They're fairly established. Like, Big Child can distance themselves from Meg. And to be very honest, Ammo Mig has not had the best reputation anyway. I never got from anybody that they had a particularly stellar reputation. Came up with a lot of it. Agreement with Ammo Mig was to put BC branding on the box. But now Ammo is saying the collaboration is done. They have all the rights to the product and will be selling it without Big Child's label. Yeah, that's not Big Child's fault. So then why wouldn't our painters not... Is there no painter credit on the box? Is that why painters are refusing to work with the companies in question? Is that the deal? If Big Child is telling the truth on that, it's totally not their fault. I'm gonna put just a little bit of orange, just little bits. I just want little suggestions. This isn't gonna like totally bleach out and make everything orange. It's just gonna give you hints in the closest areas. Oh, interesting. I wonder. It seems odd that they'd be going under. Yeah. Well, buy your. I guess it's too late to panic buy your Big Child minis, right? Huh? Good thing I've got what I've got. I wonder what happened. They were doing 3D prints. I mean, their stuff's always been expensive, so maybe there's just maybe they were just driven out by market pressure. But yeah, I've never honestly heard anybody having a great impression of Ammo Mig. Like, I've heard far more people not liking them than liking them. So, but that could be just the gossip that I'm tuned into. Oh, yeah. Well, hopefully this word spreads and nobody works with them anymore. I mean, there's an easy answer to that. Just don't work with the jerk. All right. So, you guys see what I'm doing though? Like, it's more subtle. I'm probably going to take that down a bit. Yeah, most US people haven't, but historical and IPMS usually do know about. Like, they've used ammo products before. That's where I heard about them from. IPMS people didn't have a... IPMS people using their stuff, but still complaining about them. I'm going to glaze a little bit of orchid over that. I went a little bit too far. All right, so you guys see that light? I think it's actually more successful on the front, which is great. You want the front to be pretty good. Well, of course, yeah. Actually, a collaboration can be that one-sided hyper. It really depends. Having been a part of some collaborations at Reaper, or at least one collaboration at Reapers. I know two, I guess. Yeah, two. Between Heavy Gear and Paizo. It really depends on... Like, a collaboration can be as simple as one company just hiring the other company to do the thing. And then the one company has just hired the other company. They're really not involved other than in improving the final product. Right? So it really depends on what kind of collaboration it was. Just wanted to bring that up. I mean, yeah, it takes two to party, so you're right on that. Like, there had to have been miscommunications and or issues on both sides. But it can be more woggly than you think. It's not always equal. Yeah, I think we're good. What do you guys think? A little bit. Do you think that's about right? Let's look at our... I forgot to grab his concept art. Let me see. I might need a little bit more than that. It just looks wrong to me, though, if I pull it too far. Where is your concept art? There it is. So Wayne's got more color, but he's also like got this at a specific angle. So he needs to put the color on it to show it. I could put more there, I suppose, but I don't know that I want to put it that bright. He's done it more saturated. Bye, Crowley. Well, no idea. I mean, maybe Big Child is severely at fault too. But if they've essentially, if Big Child is going under, and that meant, I assume that if painters are talking about it, it affected painters, which I would assume meant like people who painted box art and then either didn't get their credits or didn't get their money or both. Because if it was just a kerfuffle between two companies, there's no reason for painters to like get involved in that. But yeah, so I don't want to go too far with it, but that's about as far as I feel like I can take it. I could pop it up just a little bit more on the arm here. I mean, it's up to you. Like, this is the dealio. Like, if you really like the paint, then who cares about the companies? Like, then you're going to feel bad just because you can't get the paint anymore. Then that's acceptable. But feeling bad about the paint just because two companies that, you know, didn't do right by people, like maybe your favorite paint comes from bad people, that would be like feeling bad about liking Games Workshop paint. Like, it's up to you whether you feel bad about it. Like, nobody is sitting there yelling at you that you have to hate the paint now. If they are, you can ignore them. Thanks, Swissnoma. I'm looking forward to the 5K. I mean, drama is always... we're going to be right next to Silmar, which is a refuge, like a beach nature preserve kind of thing. I don't know if they let dogs out on the beach, but we'll be walking with Keeks somewhere. So yeah, just picking up the orange a little bit more down here. Exactly. Very cat-like of you. Yeah, everybody piles on. It's true. Oh, sometimes. Yes, sometimes that is true. Sometimes a company will do something so mind-blowingly icky. But at that point, it's still your choice, right? You're like, I'm going to boycott this range much as I like it because I don't believe in this company and I don't want to give them money anymore, right? That's absolutely fair. All right, there we go. So I feel like that's pretty consistent then. Yeah, it's a personal thing, right? BC formulated Iconics and Ammo did the production and distribution. Uh-huh. Right, but is the only... Like, I'm still confused about this. Like, I'm confused about why the painters are angry. Like, that has not entered the conversation once. Why are the painters angry, Hyper Bunny? I've totally missed this. Like, you mentioned that branding from Big Child that wasn't on the bottles, maybe. You know, but you haven't mentioned anything about why the painters are angry. Why are the painters angry? Yeah, exactly. I don't vibe with other people putting pressure. Yeah. Nico. Yeah. Like, are the painters angry because Big Child might be going under and now they won't have anybody to paint for because of Ammo's, you know, thingy? Are they, like, angry because they're not getting paid or box art? I mean, I'm not clear on that yet. I think it's okay, guys. I think it's okay. I think I'm okay with my OSL. It's okay-ish. It's okay-ish. Yes, how dare it not pose for you after all you've done. Yeah, I don't mind if people want to like spread the word um, about something sus, right, in the industry. Absolutely, I like to be informed. But I definitely want to make my own decision about my own actions resulting from that knowledge. I really don't like it when it's implied that I should act a certain way. Like, if somebody wants to act that way themselves, that's fine. And if I really respect that person, I may take their actions into consideration as I consider my own. But he was tiny. Aww. Okay, so it is like that Big Child is going under. Ammo's actions may have contributed to that. The painters are angry about it, and so they're refusing to buy or work for Ammo Meg. But you mentioned Big Child too, and if they're like if they respect Big Child, but I still don't get what I don't get what Big Child did. It's just not clear to me. I would have to find out. I would have to actually care enough to search for the drama. And you know what? I don't need more stress. Today I have to do a lot of stuff. Oof. But anyway, guys, stretch. And I'm going to go back. Because when you do this, you got to zoom out and look at it. And then maybe you want to put something black behind it. Oh, that's going to make it totally not read, isn't it? And then you see, does it look right? If you're doing OSL, putting a black background behind it to kind of see how it reads is a good idea. I feel like this is reading okay. Oh no. If I almost got stood on, I would not pose for a picture. Got it. Yeah, I thought it was implied that like painters were mad at Big Child, and I just didn't see like why they would be. But if Big Child is dying, then that is a sad. I mean, that's a double sad because we're doing that paint along, right? On my Patreon, she's a Big Child miniature. Like, we're almost done with her, and now people won't be able to order her. Which is a bummer, because she's a great figure. Still on my mini factory. Maybe they'll. I hope they do keep that going. Like, that costs nothing, right? One presumes, except for paying my mini factory a portion of every STL download. But at least people would be able to get the models from there. That would be good. Yes, very irresponsible human giant. All right, folks. I would say this is fairly successful. And I think that we will call it there. I think I'll end up, well, maybe I'll do a little bit of, I've got a couple minutes left. Maybe I can do a little bit of silver. I can't look at his slow worm sweets. It's like the tiny mongoose that ate the cheese puff when we were in Hawaii. I wish I could have gotten a picture of him, but he was just too fast. The kid threw the cheese puff before I could whip out my camera. Thanks, Jetta. Yeah, I think we'll call it here. I'm just gonna throw a couple of highlights because I have the paint open. Throwing a couple highlights onto the silver. Just bringing in a little bit of the lighter highlight to see if I can separate out this this really bright red. Uh-oh. Miss Keeks says woof woof. Time check, says Keeks. Hi there, little Keekers. Hi there, little Keekers. Yeah, there's a waggy tail in the camera. There's a waggy tail in the camera. Hi. Yeah, we're almost ready. We're almost done. Mama was just doing a little bit of highlighting just to use up her last couple minutes. So waggy, so floofy. That tail. Giant poof tail. So plume. Plume tail. She's finally almost done shedding. I made a special effort to brush her more because I didn't want her to be like dangling tufts of fur while we were in Carmel. Yeah, so we can work a little bit more on that dagger and stuff next time. So we're getting there. We're getting there. Alrighty. So, oh no, Quindy's sub is gone. Just in time for me to be gone. So yeah, so I will not see you guys tomorrow. I will see you on Monday and Tuesday, and then I'll be gone again. And I hope you have a lovely time. I hope you can enjoy some reruns. You didn't do the alert. How many of Kiki's? Oh, at least 2 other Kiki's, Jetta Rose. She's of that breed, you know. Definitely the shedding is sincere. it's for reals. I would regularly pull like huge amounts of fur out of my my pin brush. So yeah, I'm gonna try to take some pictures and put them up on my Discord for you guys, because it'll be a pretty run. Yeah, hopefully I don't expect a PR, but I'm gonna give it my best shot, guys. The hills will be interesting. I will watch out for weasels. I don't know if there are weasels. There might be. There's definitely ground squirrels. There's a ton of California ground squirrels. Yes. And I'll share my medal when I come back, guys. It'll be a pretty medal, I'm pretty sure. So, all right. Thanks very much, everybody. Thank you for modding, Quindy and Kuro, and I will see you guys later. And thanks for the heads up on the cafe, Army. That looks amazing. Okay, have a great one, everybody. Bye-bye.